Hi, everybody. Hi. My name is Ernie Rosenberg, and welcome. Welcome. My name is Ernie Rosenberg, and I'm going to talk to you about how to introduce your young child to spirituality. And young here means about 3 to 8 or so, something like that. Let me start by telling you a bit about my kids and their bedtime. They didn't like it. My kids didn't like going to bed. They wanted to stay up. They were full of life and vigor, and they didn't like having to go to bed. And they had all kinds of ploys about extending it. And so we had this thing, it was bathroom, teeth, and drink. And of course, the kids knew it by heart. And they would try all kinds of stunts to extend that bedtime. So my son, for example, would say, I got to go to the bathroom. But you just went to the bathroom. I know, but I got to go again. You don't want me to go in bed, do you? So we get this extra trip to the bathroom. I always kind of wanted, later on I used to think, I wish I had said, it's okay, go to sleep. If you wake up in a puddle, call me. I never did it, but I wanted to. But then something happened with the bedtime with my children. That as it became kind of inevitable, that bedtime was going to hit them. They had to go to sleep. Sometimes, not always, they would enter a contemplative phase. And they would start to ask questions like, why did Sneakers have to die? Sneakers was their first dog. Or they would say, why did that guy kill all those children in Connecticut? They would start to ask questions that were really meaningful to them and now had a sense of enough peace in their life that they could ask them. And what my wife and I used to do was we would take turns going to see each of the 2 children. So they'd have a parent alone. And they would start to actually speak about these issues in their life. And initially, I thought, they've come up with another ploy. This is a good one. And my wife said, no, that's not true. They're asking real questions about their life when they don't have any other opportunity except when they're with us alone at bedtime. And then years later, I thought, what if I had said to my children, when they had entered this kind of contemplative phase, why don't you talk to God? Not necessarily get an answer to the questions, but why don't you start to have a relationship with God? Why don't you talk to God? And there's one thing you have to know, and that is that God may not give you everything you ask for, but everything you say, he or she will clearly hear. And he or she will hear it with love and respect. That's the only ground rule. And then what if we had added on, my wife and I, one more thing? What if we had copied down these prayers that the children said in a little book? What a book that would be. Full of their innocence and purity and fun. And anger too, that was possible. The prayers didn't have to be, all nice and cuddly. They could be anything at all that was truly in their life. That they had to go inside themselves to pull out what was really true. And then we would put it in a little book. And now picture my children as adults or perhaps teenagers, and the relationship with God having become a little distant. And I pull out the book, and I give them this book of their childhood prayers. What would that mean for them? What a gift that would be. What a reminder of the beauty and honesty and wisdom that lies within them. And then I would insist that that purity and beauty is not gone, but is there waiting to be recovered. And it can be recovered, and then find an expression into their life as adults or teenagers. Now, maybe you're thinking, I'd like to try that, or maybe some people would like to try that. And now to kind of help with that, we have something to assist. We have a book called Amy's Best Friend, Prayers of a Child. Now, we have to be very clear about this book. Does not give the child, this is the way to do it. This is what you need to say. This is not formalized prayer. That too, of course, has its place. But this is an example of how to have an open, honest, free relationship with God. And the book consists of, there's an introduction to the child. Amy gives an introduction, but Amy gives the introduction not when she's 6 years old, when the prayers were said, but when she's an adult. And then come 14 illustrated prayers, and then a note at the end to the parents. And that note encourages the parents to do the same process with their children as it generated this book. And then the final pages of the book are blank, so they can get started right away. Now, Amy treats God as her best friend. I mean, this is her best friend. And she a lot of fun here. Why is fun so important? Well, one reason it's so important is little kids just relate so naturally to fun. You don't have to teach a 4-year-old how to have fun. You would just never even think of doing that. So fun is really a tremendously wonderful entryway to a child's heart. And God is Amy's best friend, and she treats him that way. She has fun with her best friend. This is spirituality with a great big smile. In these prayers, Amy asks of God, but she gives as well. For example, "Dear God, I pretended today was your birthday and tied a yellow ribbon around a cupcake." And then the prayer continues. She can see that God has a problem. "Dear God, I think you're a little shy. After all, not everyone believes in you." It's that wonderful innocence. And then the prayer continues. She's awed by the creation, and she doesn't take a moment's hesitancy to take objection to it. "Dear God, I was sick last night. The whole night, I think. It was really terrible. How come you made stomach aches? Could you unmake them so that doesn't happen again?" So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to show you I'm going to show you the whole book. I'm going to show you the ebook version. The ebook version is for the Apple products. That is the iPad and iPhone. It's really fun. It has automatic page turning, has complete narration, and has text highlighting as the narration goes. The text will jump into red. And it's just really fun. Okay, Saadav, how do we?
Go over and start her up. Oh, it's got turn pages manually.
Amy's Best Friend, Prayers of a Child, written and created by Ernie Rosenberg, illustrated by Rob Peters. My name is Amy. I'm grown now. When I was your age, my very best friend in the whole world was God, and my favorite time with him was bedtime. I would get into bed at night, and my parents would come kneel at my bedside. My dog, Amos, would cuddle up on the other side. I would fold my hands over my heart, palms together, and I would talk to God, always knowing that He heard me. That's called prayer. What I didn't know was that each night Mommy would write down my prayer in a little book. When I grew up, she gave me that book. This is part of that book. When you hear the prayers, I wish that you get a warm feeling in your heart and share that feeling with others. Most of all, I wish that you start talking to God yourself, always knowing that He hears you. And who knows, maybe your mommy or daddy will write down your prayers in a little book, and when you grow up, you'll have it to give to those you love. I love you. Amy.
Dear God, I love you, and I know you love me, and that's the most wonderful thing in the whole world. Dear God, thank you for Amos. I worry about his long ears. They touch the ground. He's going to step on them, or the vacuum cleaner will get them. Daddy tells me he has big paws, so his legs should grow and get his ears off the ground. Please keep an eye on him till his legs catch up with his ears. God, you fool people. They think you're up in the sky somewhere, but I know you're right here in me. I can feel you when I give Mommy a picture, and she gets a great big smile on her face. Dear God, I think you're a little shy. After all, not everyone believes in you. So I am going to make you a picture and hang it under the porch light. You can then come and see it in the middle of the night when no one else is around. Dear God, how did you make a flower or a raccoon or the sky? Do you have a big hat you pull these things out of? Or do you say magic words? Would you teach me? How about I become your helper so you could take a break? I bet you'd like not having to work so hard. Dear God, I went out this morning before anyone was up. I love the bath you give the grass at night, so I walked through the grass to give my toes a bath. It was really fun. It was okay with the grass. I asked permission first. Grass likes to be walked on. The yellow flowers don't, so I tiptoed around them. Thanks for being my friend and keeping everything so nice and clean. Dear God, the moon was so big tonight. Sometimes I think it's your face looking down on us and smiling while we sleep. Sort of the way I once caught Mommy smiling at me when she thought I was asleep. Dear God, I pretended today was your birthday and tied a yellow ribbon around a cupcake and put it on a birthday napkin under the oak tree. The squirrels may get it first, but that's okay. I know you love them too. Dear God, you made everything. And that makes everything very, very special. Even the things I don't like peas. It's not easy thinking peas are special, but it's true. Dear God, I was sick last night, the whole night, I think. It was really terrible. How come you made stomach aches? Could you unmake them so that doesn't happen again? Dear God, will I still be able to talk to you when I grow up? Or do grown-ups get busy and forget all about talking to you? I hope not. I'd really miss my very best friend. Dear God, why is the sky blue? Daddy said something about light bouncing off something. I didn't really understand much. Grown-ups are pretty smart. They can build bridges and airplanes and seesaws. They can figure out lots of things. But I think the sky is blue because you made it that way. I get a cuddly feeling when I know you're around. Dear God, Amos snores. I think he wants you to pet him while he's sleeping. Dear God, may all be happy. The end. Almost.
To the parent, grandparent, relative, friend of a child. Now what? Invite your child to pray. Now, tonight, soon. Purchase a small journal for your child and put their name on the front. Fill the blank pages of this journal with their prayers. Imagine your child getting into bed at night and, like Amy, talking to God. In this time of comfort and safety, your child's most tender and most genuine nature arises. Wisdom is spoken and love returned. An irreplaceable treasure is created in these nighttime prayers your child tells you. Imagine now the time when your child is a teenager or grown, and you give them their book of prayers. With the fascination that we all have about ourselves, your child can see themselves from a perspective rarely available anywhere else. In their adulthood, your book of prayers will let them see themselves at their most pure and honest, and allow them to remember that this precious little child who prayed is not gone, but waits inside for the chance to participate boldly in life. Come visit us at our website, www.mychildsprayers.com. There we'll have new books coming out. But most importantly, it's a place where you can post your child's prayers. Read to him or her the prayers of other children and correspond on our interactive blog with like-minded parents about prayer and children.
Okay, what are the benefits for the child? Well, they have they establish when they're very young a real relationship with God. It's just invaluable. And then, of course, there's the book of prayers that can elevate them at any time during their adult life or their teenage years. What are the benefits for the parents? Well, they can watch their child's beauty shine forth. They can just watch it. They just, like planting that wonderful seed. They can just watch it. And there's another benefit for the parent, too, that this is one time, the bedtime, doing the prayers, when they don't have to address some of the really difficult questions about spirituality. They can just appreciate their child's spirituality. And they can address the difficult questions at other times, but they have this one well-defined period of time, bedtime, in which they don't have to do that. On the website, you can see there's the vision of this project. There's a slideshow of some of the prayers. There's a place where there's a short autobiography of me and the illustrator. There's a place where you can buy the products, the ebook versions, the softcover versions as well. There's 3 books. There's the main book that you saw. There's a coloring book, and there's a prayer journal. And then there's this one page called Prayer Share, and that's what the video talked about at the very end. And I just think this wonderful, wonderful opportunity where children can have their prayers posted, and then they can read the prayers of other children. For example, if they're really interested in an area like school, they click on the word school, and then they'll get the prayers of other children. So, and then they can really contribute to the community with putting their prayers up there. What this is, at least in part, is increasing the expression of goodness in our world, which is a fine thing to do. So thank you very much for coming and listening. Any questions or comments?